Hi, I want to share with you guys my reading plans for the next 1 to 2 weeks. I'll be going on vacation next month, so I would love to finish 4 of the books that I'm about to tell you before my vacation. I mean, it's not that serious if I don't get to all of these books, it's whatever. The first book on the list is Never Ever After by Lynn. I'm currently borrowing this from the library. This is a Cinderella-inspired fantasy romance, but in my opinion, the Cinderella part is just a small portion of this story. It is so much more than that. I actually really like the female main character in this book. Even though she is poor, she does not give up like her moral values for wealth. And when a guy that she is attracted to does something that she thinks is wrong, she gets the ick and kind of just like drops him. And I like that about her. The main plot of this story, or at least I think is the main plot based on what I've read so far, the female main character has this like special ring, and her step-aunt stole this ring, so she follows her aunt to the palace to try and get her ring back. Things happen and then she ends up having to stay at the palace. While at the palace, she interacts with the prince and also with another guy who is part of the court from an ally kingdom. Since I am borrowing this book from the library, it's kind of on my top priority to finish first. The next book on the list is The Spellshop by Beth. This is a cozy fantasy with cottagecore vibes. Our female main character is a librarian, but she has to flee the city and library because it's getting attacked and destroyed by the people. The people are kind of rebelling against the emperor or king. Our female main character also has a companion. It is this sentient spider plant. So she and the spider plant is fleeing the city and they decided to go back to her parents' hometown. She did live in this small town when she was young, but her parents wanted like a better life for themselves and for their daughter, and that's why they moved to the city many years ago. So now we are following our female main character and the sentient plant as they try to navigate this new environment and new life. We follow her as she interacts with the people in the small town, most notably this young man. And this man says that he knew our female main character and her parents when they were young, but she doesn't remember him. She gets very irritated by him because he's always trying to help her, and that irritates me. Like, girl, just let this man help you. I am enjoying the cozy vibes in this book so far and hoping that I'll be able to finish this book before my trip. And then the last 2 books that I would also like to read and finish before my trip is The Will of the Many by Islington. This is a high fantasy and a lot of people enjoy and have high raving reviews for this book. And then I would also like to read Bittersweet in the Hollow. It says here that this is a book blending mystery, thriller, and folk horror, and I know there is also some witchy vibes. So I will come back to give you guys an update once I've made some reading progress on these books. just finished reading Never Ever After this morning, and I actually enjoyed this book so much more than I expected. I really enjoyed following a female main character on this adventure and self discovery. I'm not gonna mention anything else about the plot. I think at the beginning of this video, I already kind of briefly mentioned the plot of the story, and if I share anything more, I feel like it would be too much of a spoiler. One thing I like about this book is that when you read most fantasy romance, the reason why the female main character is mad at the male lead and try to keep her distance is because of a reason that doesn't really make sense. But I feel like in this book it makes sense to me. Like I understood why the female main character has to protect herself and act a bit cold towards the male lead sometimes because it really is a matter of life and death for her. She's not going to blindly trust and fall for a guy who she doesn't 100% know has her best interests. It's not just about words of assurance, like there has to be action and result to support it. Also, I have read another book by this author, I think last year, and that book is called Immortal. Never Ever After is structured pretty similarly to The Immortal, where there's like four parts in the story. But in Immortal, I felt like part one was really good, and then part two, three, and four, I started to lose interest. It felt like every part was its own different story. But in Never Ever After, I thought all the parts really connected well, and the entire book felt like one whole overarching story. In terms of the romance, I enjoyed it. I don't know. I think I know who the female lead is going to end up with, but at the same time, I don't know if the author's going to put another twist in the second book. Yeah, I didn't realize that this was going to be a series, but I am excited to pick up the second book. I think it comes out this year. Yeah, October this year. I have also been reading a little bit of the Will of the Many. I am now at page 117. Our main character, Viz, in this book, he was a prince from a fallen empire, and now he is an orphan. He is hiding the fact that he was the prince, and he has been living for a couple of years quietly in the empire that had destroyed his home. He is about 17 years old right now. He then gets adopted by a man from a powerful family in the empire. I believe the empire is called the Hierarchy Empire. Anyways, the way the magic system works in this empire is a bit like a pyramid. The people at the bottom of the pyramid give their will, which is essentially like their power, to the people on top of the pyramid and so on. So the higher you are on the pyramid, the stronger and more powerful you are because you're getting will from more people. And back to Viz being adopted, the reason why this powerful man wants to adopt Viz is because he wants Viz to act as a spy and enter into the academy as a student and find this ancient weapon that he believes the academy is keeping a secret. So far, this book is meeting my expectations. I knew going in that it was going to be a good book because of all the raving reviews I've heard. I am enjoying it. I want to read more. It does give Red Rising vibes. I feel like I'm still in like the beginning of the book, so there is so much more to explore. For the next couple of days, I will be focusing on reading The Will of the Many. Hopefully, I will have time to fit the other two books that I also wanted to read in this video before my trip. another week has passed and now I have finished two more books. Let's talk about the spell shop first. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but the female main character, Kiela, when she fled the city, she also brought some library books with her, and these books contain spells, hence the title of this novel, The Spell Shop. So, to help her adjust to her new life in this small town, she used some of the spells from these books to help make her life a little bit easier. However, in the current empire that is being overthrown right now, there is some laws, and one of the laws is that it's illegal for people who are not sorcerers to perform spells. Basically, what Kiela is doing is illegal. In order to make some money, she decides to open a gem shop and sell some raspberry jam. So on the front, she's selling raspberry jam, but in secret, she's performing some spells to kind of help not just herself but also the town. Kiela is very introverted and awkward with people. She's very insecure and have a lot of self-doubt, but she has like a really good heart and she just wants to help. Sometimes I feel like the sentient plant has a lot more common sense than Kiela, and I would even say it has more wisdom and sometimes would offer some really good advice to Kiela. Also, I think it's so cute and precious how the townspeople embrace them. For me, the romance is just fine. It's very cute and PG. There is zero spice in this book. Yeah, if you're looking for a cozy fantasy read, I do think that this is a good one to pick up. The other book that I had finished reading is Bittersweet in the Hollow. 1 year ago, our female main character, Lyndon, she went through a very traumatic incident. She went missing one night, and when they found her, she couldn't remember what had happened, but it was a near death experience for her. And now, 1 year later, the same thing has happened to another girl, but this girl ended up dead. And this girl is also Lyndon's friend, so she decides to investigate what had happened. Lyndon also comes from a family of witches, so she lives with three other sisters and her mother and their grandmother. Each of them have a special gift. In Lyndon's case, she can taste people's feelings, and sometimes it's very unpleasant for her. As she tried to investigate what had happened to a friend, she also reconnects with this guy who is her childhood friend, and they were close until the night when she disappeared. Their relationship turned bad that night, and so the story also explores what had happened to cause their relationship to sour. This book just has all the elements that I enjoy in a story. I enjoyed the small town vibes, the atmosphere, the mystery, and the sort of like family, ancestral, folklore magic. As we start to find out who the murderer was, I did have some like suspicions, and I'm so glad that my prediction was wrong because I would have been so devastated for Lyndon. I do recommend this book if you want something quick to read. I don't know if I can say the pacing is fast, but there's something about like the characters or the story, or maybe it's the writing, I'm not sure. But there's something about this book that compels you to keep reading. You just don't want to put this down until you finish the book. At least that was my experience with this book. There is also a sequel already out, but following a different sister. I'm definitely interested to check it out. Finally, with The Will of the Many, I did not get very far. I'm now at page 177. I won't be finishing this book in this video. I'm just gonna take my time with it. I might try to read more of it during my flight. And I think this is a good place to end this video. Thank you so much for watching this reading vlog. I hope you had a good time, and I will see you in the next one.